the Kartarpur corridor. So the groundbreaking ceremony on the Indian side was held today, where you had this sort of unique moment where you had the Vice President of India, Amarinder Singh, Harsimrat Badal, and politicians from across the spectrum standing there together. Amarinder Singh, the Chief Minister of Punjab, declaring that he will not go for the Pakistani ceremony, which is going to be held the day after tomorrow on the Pakistani side, because Pakistan continues with its terror policy. However, you have Navjyot Singh Sidhu, who is a senior minister in his government, who has made it clear that he wants to go. So you have that story playing out on one hand. And yes, in 2 days, you have Imran Khan, the Prime Minister of Pakistan, who will be leading the groundbreaking ceremony on the other side.
Political rivals sharing a stage for a corridor from Kartarpur to Pakistan for Dera Baba Nanak, the Sikh shrine. But the divisions are sharp, especially between the Chief Minister and his high-profile Minister Navjyot Sidhu. Sidhu described the Pakistan Prime Minister, his foreign cricket rival, as an angel and defended his decision to travel to Pakistan on the 28th of November for the groundbreaking ceremony.
3 महीने पहले इमरान खान साहब को एक फरिश्ता उनको वजीर आजम बनना था पाकिस्तान का। हर चीज संभव है मेरे भाई, बस एक पॉलिटिकल विल चाहिए जो उस फरिश्ते ने बॉर्डर पार से दिखाई है, जो हमारी सरकार ने दिखाई है।
In sharp contrast, the Chief Minister said that was Sidhu's way of thinking. But in blunt comments against both his own minister and the 2 union ministers going to Pakistan, Amarinder Singh says as an ex-soldier he has refused to go because of Pakistan's continued support to terror attacks in India, warning the Pakistan Army Chief to boot.
एक किसने सिखाया है कि फौज विच कि तुसी आके पाकिस्तान के बॉर्डर के उपर साडे हिंदुस्तान से गोली चला के साडे जवानों नूं जो कोई इत्थे घूम रहा है या फिर जा रहे उन्होंने तुसी मार दिओ। किसी ने दस्सिया है कि तुसी पठानकोट में अपने बाढ़ के इत्थे लोगों नूं इत्थे मार दिओ, दीना नगर विच मार दिओ। ये अपना कुछ इत्थे गड़बड़ करने की कोशिश करेंगे तो याद रखे बाजवा असीं भी साडे कोल भी पंजाबियों का खून साडे विच बसदा है।
कुछ लोग जैसा मैंने कहा आतंकवाद को अपना पॉलिसी बना के हमारा इनोसेंट लोग के ऊपर उन आतंकवादियों के द्वारा हमला करवा रहे।
The Akali Dal, the state opposition party and the central government ally, however, claimed political credit for the setting up of the pilgrimage corridor to Pakistan, which will open next year for Guru Nanak's 550th birth anniversary.
अपने कौम से अपने गुरसामा नूं दर्शन दीदार देन वास्ते मोदी साहब दी देन है। आज मैं उन्हां दा भी तहे दिलों तो शुकराना कर दिया।
Chief Minister Captain Amarinder Singh hit out at Pakistan Army Chief General Bajwa in the strongest terms. He was backed by Vice President India, making it quite clear that there can be no compromise on the issue of terrorism. Though the opening of Kartarpur corridor is a positive gesture, but with such basic differences between the 2 countries intact, the question is, how will the peace process move forward? In Dera, Guru Nanak, Zafar Iqbal for NDTV.
All right, well, let's talk a little bit about Kartarpur and how that story is played out today. Ravi Shergill of the Congress is here with us. We have Vivek Reddy of the BJP back with us tonight. Mr. Sharad Savarwal stays with us, as does Mayami Chandani. Ravi Shergill, first, let me take this to you. What's going on in the Congress? Amarinder Singh says one thing and Navjyot Singh Sidhu says another.
First, Nidhi, I think
I came straight to the point.
Yes, I will come straight to the point. One aspect is Indo-Pak relationship is like rowing a boat against the tide. If you don't push forwards, you'll naturally drift backwards. So I think Kartarpur Sahib, in principle, Congress has a unanimity. We passed a resolution in the Assembly. Now you come to the difference. I think the difference, the disagreement with Captain Amarinder Singh and Navjyot Singh Sidhu is a storm in a teacup which is being projected as a big dispute by BJP to hide their own hypocrisy. Yes, they don't agree, but they are not hypocrites like BJP. BJP was labeling Navjyot Singh Sidhu ISI agent, an anti-national, and now they're crawling for credit on this issue. Are we hypocrites? The same Harsimrat Badal in a rally called Navjyot Singh Sidhu a puppet of Pakistan, and today she'll be arriving as a guest. And I say, as I say in Hindi, BJP's policy towards Pakistan, TV पे चीर देंगे और जमीन पे जाके उनकी शादी पे जाके उनको खीर खिलाएंगे. That is their policy. That is the point. A nation would rather choose leaders, choose leaders which are straight, clear-hearted, not hypocrites. When Captain Amarinder Singh is not calling Navjyot Singh Sidhu anti-national, Sardar Manmohan Singh did not.
Okay.
Let me last point. Just tell me. Sardar Manmohan Singh did not go to Pakistan for 10 years. LK Advani went in 2005. Was he branded anti-national by Sardar Manmohan Singh? Did Captain Amarinder Singh said, no, if you want to remain in my cabinet, you will not go to Pakistan?
You're making fair points.
He's a friend
but
of Imran.
You have Amarinder Singh, who's the chief minister, who is on one hand saying, I'm not going to Pakistan because they have this environment that is helping terrorists and terror groups. And then you have Navjyot Sidhu, who's calling Imran Khan an angel. Ab thoda zyada ho gaya na? I'm just saying the contrast is a bit much, no?
No, yes, it is contra, but fortunately for us as a nation, the Pakistan policy is not guided by favorites of Navjot Singh Sidhu or favorites of Captain Amarinder Singh. Indo-Pak policy and relationship is guided by a clear, consistent Modi-Pakistan policy.
I'm saying if you're accusing the government of being inconsistent, then you're also sounding a little inconsistent today.
We might
in Punjab at
no,
least.
Nidhi, we might be different, we are not inconsistent. If you remember 8 weeks back, you did a show. Navjot Singh Sidhu that time also stood by his hug. Captain Amarinder Singh also stood by a decision, I don't approve of this going. So we are different, not hypocrites.
So Mr. Reddy, when we keep saying, or when the government has said in the past that there are no talks with terror and, you know, we're going to isolate Pakistan on the world stage, can you explain to us why this decision was taken? I mean, obviously you have the interests of pilgrims on one hand, but now, you know, you have 2 ministers from the government of India who are going to Pakistan for this ceremony. It is a thaw in the relationship. It's interesting about why it's happening now.
Yes, well, Nidhi, let me just clarify. You brought in a very good question in perspective, but let me just clarify before answering you what the Congress spokesperson has said. I think there is some invidious differences amongst the Congress statesmen in Punjab, Congress Chief Minister and the Minister, Mr. Navjyot Singh Sidhu. I think it is for the Congress to answer this rather than trying to say that there is no such difference, or rather than trying to patch it up with some excuse. But the larger issue is this, which you have brought into perspective, and that is that this involves, whenever we craft foreign policy or whenever we shape foreign policy, I think we keep national interests at most, and it is a balance that we have to find in between. We have to bring in all factors and see what is good for the nation. And if you look at that test, I think the Narendra Modi government has done the best thing by creating this corridor, because one, it answers the long demand of devotees of Guru Nanak, both Sikh and non-Sikh, and therefore creating this corridor is an aid in that aspect. Second thing is the larger issues of concern raised by various people. Well, these issues India is handling it quite capably, and I don't think, as my learned friend from Congress just now said, that there is, I don't think we were cowards like Congress while handling Pakistan. Wherever the stick has to be meted out, we are meeting it out with a stick. We are fighting with stick.
And
we are
whenever
creating
they have
surgical.
to be visited,
we have engaged Pakistan with surgical strikes. We have also.
But Mr. Reddy, do you admit that it was a bit unfair to go after Navjyot Singh Sidhu when he was talking about Kartarpur? Was that a mistake? I mean, Harsimrat Badal was so angry with him about this corridor. So, in retrospect, would you say that that was a mistake?
Well, the issue is this. Well, the issue is this. It is Mr. Navjyot Singh Sidhu's own decision whether it is internally within the Congress. We don't know whether Mr. Sidhu represents the Congress official point of view or official stand. But definitely, this is one thing. This is a big success for the Modi government. And that achievement.
So you do give credit to Mr. Sidhu for raising it as well.
Talking in terms of saying hypocrisy.
Okay, Mr. Sabharwal, let me ask you though, what do you make of the timing of this and the significance of this? Yes, Sushma Swaraj said that she is unable to go, she has prior commitments, and that of course is important because the invitation was sent to her. Obviously, Pakistan was hoping that they could turn this into an opportunity or perhaps a spectacle of trying to reach out to India for talks. She didn't let that happen, but you do have 2 ministers in the government of India who are going. What do you think this signals? Is this just about this one event, about Kartarpur, or is this sending a message that there is a slight thaw which we could capitalize on later?
Nidhi, I see it as a positive development, which I hope goes through smoothly and is not stymied by some terror attack in J&K and so on. I hope, we draw up the modalities and the corridor is eventually operationalized. I won't read anything beyond that in this development. Let's look at how it has come about. You see, this is an old demand, 2 decades old demand from our side. And we had been saying, you operationalize this corridor, the Pakistanis are not agreeing. And very recently, they snatched the initiative away from us. When General Bajwa, the Chief of Army Staff, told Navjyot Sidhu during his visit to Islamabad that they were willing to open this corridor. That having been done, it was very difficult for our government to sit on this proposal in an election year in relation to a subject which involves the religious sentiments of a large number of voters in Punjab and elsewhere in India. So eventually we were obliged to urge the Pakistanis to open this corridor, and which is what they have agreed to because they had expressed their willingness earlier. So I see it as a positive development. Now beyond that, Prime Minister, for example, has said, talked of follow the Berlin Wall. The Berlin Wall fell because the East German state collapsed. I don't think Pakistan is going to collapse. So if we want to, let's say, take the people-to-people context track forward, we'll have to talk to Pakistan. Are we in a position to talk to them in an election year, having said time and again that terror and talks cannot go together? Now, there is no let-up in terror in J&K. In Punjab, there has been evidence that the Pakistanis are trying to revive the Khalistani movement. So given all this, to expect that this would lead to anything more, and would the Pakistanis be willing to work with us only on the people-to-people track without talking on Kashmir and Siachen
I think you've given it excellent perspective, especially how this came about, because you just realized that this didn't just drop out of thin air. Maybe India's hand was forced on this in a sense. Maya, again, like I said, a schizophrenic India-Pakistan relationship. It is ironic that in the week that we are commemorating 10 years of 26/11, you do have this kind of a temporary thaw, as it were. But in that sense, I think what Sharad Sabharwal seems to be saying is that you can't read too much into this because there is really no window right now, at least, to take this forward.
Right, and I think, a couple of things. One is what we saw when Navjyot Singh Sidhu went for Imran Khan's swearing in. It really, in hindsight, seems like an utterly manufactured controversy, because if the intention, whatever provoked it, was to ultimately go and, you're talking about the week of 26/11. It is on the day of 26/11 that the foundation stone from the Indian side has been laid. More interestingly, the first signs of this did not come from Pakistan's political, newly elected establishment. It came from General Bajwa. So clearly this is something which the military is, in my perspective, I could be wrong, but it's something that has got the blessings of the Pakistani military, which is why we're seeing it go ahead over here. So in that sense, I agree, let's not read too much into this, because the India-Pakistan relationship, certainly since for the last 5 years has been a stop and start. Frankly, is there a policy? One doesn't have a clear answer to that question. What I do feel is disingenuous today is that while we can discuss, Amarinder Singh and Navjyot Singh Sidhu and their differences and, what that means for the Congress position on it, I think the BJP is being highly hypocritical to sort of turn around and blame 26/11 on the Congress and the UPA and, the fact that security has been at its worst at that time. Let's not forget, Jaswant Singh escorted Masood Azhar to Kandahar. The parliament attack took place when Prime Minister Vajpayee was in office. Let's not get into a blame game of whose security was better or worse. I don't think that serves the purpose. We had a survivor of 26/11 shortly before this conversation came on saying we need to talk to Pakistan. Let's not politicize this. The timing of this to me is interesting. We're going into a general election. So, clearly the hand has been forced. You can't appear that the hand has been forced. You're trying to seize the moment, which would make logical sense. Let's just own up to that and see
I want Mr. Reddy to just respond to that point you made about politicizing, sort of terror attacks. And Mr. Reddy, I think more than anything else, we can all agree that as a country, we need to be united in the face of terrorism.
Right.
So is it fair, you think, for the Prime Minister to be talking about who was in power when 26/11 happened? Maya just reminded you who was in power when, very
IC 814.
IC 814
and the parliament attack.
Yeah.
Let us look at it very objectively. Let us not try to pass it over like Maya wants to do it. Well,
no, I'm
Maya
not
says
passing
it
it
is
over, sir. I'm being very
hypocritical to talk
objective.
about
These
it.
are
I'm
the
shocked.
facts as they
Because
were.
how can it be hypocritical? Let me tell you, Maya, let me tell you one thing very clearly. This is an event that has never occurred in the history of India. 26/11, 10 years ago.
Neither did I see
And it
814.
has such shocking proportions. And you are just trying to pass it over.
I'm not
There
at
is
all
nobody
doing
taking
that, sir.
responsibility
No.
for this.
I take
The
objection to
previous
that.
government
I'm not
should not take
passing it over.
responsibility. Is there no accountability? Well then, what is wrong in saying that it happened under the guard of the previous government?
Undoubtedly
and
it
the previous
did.
government was derelict. That's a fact. And
So
let us
is
admit
that
it.
true of the Vajpayee
And
government
there
as
is nothing
well?
hypocritical about it. In
Is
fact,
that
it
true
the
of the
truth.
Vajpayee government as
It is
well?
the open truth.
Is that
It
true
is
of the
the open
Vajpayee
truth.
government as well? I mean,
Well,
where
we are
is this
talking
going to
about
stop,
26/11.
Mr. Reddy?
You know, this is pointless.
yeah.
Being in denial of national
proportions.
security failures
It shouldn't-
does no one
Incident of
any
epic proportions.
absolutely.
Never that
service,
occurred
you
in the
know.
history of India. Shall we talk about that? Something which never occurred in the history of India? And therefore,
Jaiveer wants to come
let us not say it is blame game. We have to
No,
accept
it is a
fact
blame
as
game.
facts.
It's actually unprecedented.
National security.
It is never. It is never.
Mr. Reddy, can I make my
If we
point?
did not have a remote control government, we would never have had this.
Can I make my point now?
Please go ahead. Please go.
Two quick points. Tragedy of the nation is Prime Minister has not come out of the election campaign mode for the past 4.5 years. His focus is headline management and not nation management, vote security than the national security. You celebrated surgical strike. I challenge you, Google any press conference by any minister of yours on the issues of national security. 500% rise in infiltration, 428 Jawans dead in Jammu and Kashmir, 225 dead in Naxal operations, 200% beyond last year infiltration increased, but Prime Minister Modi only wants to hear claps. Where is the PM Modi? Saugandh hai dharti maiya ki, ye desh nahi jhukne dunga. Why did he go attend a wedding when Colonel Mahadit's funeral pyre was burning? Calm down, I didn't interrupt you. Calm down. Calm down, I didn't interrupt you.
Do you think it was good under Congress?
Second, if 26/11 was a failure of Sardar Manmohan Singh, so are the 16 big terrorist attacks which has happened in the past 5 years. I'm sorry.
This is not the way.
You can't outshout me.
Actually, Mr. Reddy, you're right. This is not the way. I'm going to end it there because I don't want this to get reduced to a fight about who was better at handling national security.
It's a travesty on a day like today to have this conversation.
Absolutely,
frankly.
I completely agree.
Kartarpur Sahib
and I wish the
step in the right direction. It's positive.
I just wish the Prime Minister hadn't said it today.
There's a window for some positivity on the India-Pakistan front. You know, we're commemorating 10 years, as you said, Mr. Reddy, of the worst terror attack on Indian soil in recent times. I think we're doing a disservice to the memory of the people who died on that day by politicizing it. Terror attacks have taken place in every administration. The question is of national security. I think by the two of you fighting like this, it really serves no purpose.
All right, I'm going to leave it there.
No,
and we do wish the Prime Minister had not made this a political point the way that he did in his election rally today, because this is a day, like Maya said, where we're reflecting, looking back at the lessons we've learned from the worst terror attack that we have seen, and to politicize it actually does do a disservice to those who lost their lives and those who survived that terror attack. It's something for all of us to think about.